I heard me in robot voice today, and that's because I don't want this to go any longer than me. But I also feel very strongly that if we're going to accomplish some of the goals that the steering committee and I have for this party and that we have together, I think it's important that there is trust and an understanding of who I am and where I'm coming from as I ask different things over the next year of this party. I just want to share a couple of thoughts. A year and a half ago, I started my dream business. And ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to own a space center, like one at Christopher College Space Education Center. And so, when the government kind of dropped the ball, I went ahead and got together with some friends, all of which are here right now, and we decided to start our own space center business. And that business is a business that is a field trip site for kids. We also do corporate missions for grown-ups, big kids. And in the Space Center, we have a philosophy, and it's a mantra that we discuss all the time with our team, and we discuss with each other. And we believe in our business that our job is to educate minds using the discipline of wonder. Now, the discipline of wonder, that sounds like something maybe Barack Obama would say somewhere. He doesn't know what he's talking about. We inspire kids and want to do that to make them think of a better future, a future where they're in charge, where they're empowered, where they're excited about the prospects for humanity. It's interesting, John Adams said, in a letter to his wife, he said, "I studied war and politics so our sons can study philosophy and math." I think this is one of the things that's really been a motivating factor for me as I've worked in the Discovery Space Center. This is my dream business that I have very much wanted to spend my time building up. And my business partners, I am so appreciative of each of them for supporting me in doing this fight, because I understand that there are certain things that I can do, and there are certain things in the heart that I feel compelled to do, and they stand by me as I try to do this, and I continue to try to.
What are the baskets for?
Oh, were they donations, maybe?
I think we should use it for donations.
We're in a very position where this dream, these inspired kids, that future is in jeopardy.
$10 to buy a cookie.
And I think that your overwhelming attendance at these meetings and the best people in the world who are from Utah and the people in this county are the best people in the world.
Do you need help with that?
I think so, yeah. Should we just use the baskets? Should we just use the baskets right there?
Yeah, whatever it takes.
Let's do that.
We have to elect better people. We have to start putting forward people that aren't trying to just be something, but they're people that want to go do something. They're not people whose egos are wrapped up in their identity of being a chairman or doing something that makes them feel special. It's about accomplishing things. It's about returning the values of our country back to the people and making sure that we really are there, because over the last 30 and 40 years, we have slowly been seeing these rights recede. We've been giving them away gradually. We've seen cities overreach with extreme zoning regulations. We've seen our school boards start to collaborate with other states and massive. By the way, let's just talk about that. We've got a system where we're saying, oh, we've got states that are just getting together, and they're coming up with it. I don't care if the tyranny is coming from my neighbor stealing from me, or coming from the federal government, or coming from my states getting together so that they have a good idea. It's tyranny, and I don't like it. And that's So last night, I couldn't sleep, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why. And you would think it's because I'm about to do this and all the anxiety. No, it wasn't because of that. I'll describe why in just a moment. But last night, my roommates are actually here, so they can go down. I'm not making this up, and this isn't a gimmick. I actually was laying back, and I was reading the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence last night. So I had read the speech, and I thought, well, I read the speech, I'll go read these things. And I'll think what my values are. And so in the Declaration of Independence, it says It says that mankind are more disposed, this is amazing that it says this, that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government. Now, I'm not calling for any kind of revolution or anything crazy. What I am calling for is for us to take it seriously. For this to be your first act as delegate, among many acts as delegate. For you to start really making Utah County stand out and be just something the rest of the country can't ignore. That is the vision that I have for this county, and that is where I want us to go. The Constitution, we all hear about Article 1, Section 8, right? Stop passing things that aren't in there, okay, Congress? Get it. Now, problem is, it's interesting because Article 1, Section 9 and 10 actually specifically go in and say, by the way, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And they like to ignore those things as well. And we need to be vigilant of these people who mask it and pretend like they have some good motive or they just know better. They just are smarter than us. They've been back there for a while. And they don't understand how these things work. Well, we're tired of that. HGTV has taught us when these people are lying to us. We can see it in their eyes. So, we've got three things that's happened. In the last 100 years, we decided that tax day was something that was just accepted. In a few days, we have tax day coming. That's what happened.
You'll be ready, and we'll just do that with number 4.
You
and then
get
the last
in line
two
and you do
the
that.
next round.
Okay?
Okay, when will we be ready for
Why?
that?
Because of an amendment that went through 100 years ago that had no business going through.
It's about ready.
And so, and we allow this continual usurpation of power by the federal government. We just said, oh, well, they need the tax. Rather than saying, let's stick within the bounds of the Constitution. Then next, obviously, we have Obamacare, which a couple of weeks ago, tyranny came knocking at our door in a more significant way than it ever has. With the Obamacare mandate saying you must buy health insurance. And if you don't buy health insurance, then you are going to pay a fine. And if you don't pay that fine, guess what happens? You go to jail, okay? That's the consequence of not paying your taxes. So this is tyranny arriving at our door. That fine in a few years is going to be almost $700. That is oppressive to people that can't afford insurance. I don't understand why they thought that was a good idea. Last thing. So, last night, why I was up was because my really good friend was watching, after I had come in late, he was watching this video. And it was of Nevada, this BLM dispute down there. And I hadn't really paid much attention to this because I've been so busy this week on all these meetings. And when I watched the video, I realized immediately where that was. And that's a place where I grew up. The people that brought my mom into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are from there. And so we visit there several times a year. I played on that property, I've gone shooting on that property, I've gone four-wheeling on that property. I have scars from shooting on the face, from the scope kicking me in the face. And so the experience down there, though, these are good people. I've gone to church with these people. And Clyde is having the BLM, a department that shouldn't exist, in a state that has no business rounding up his property. Now, the irony here is poetically grotesque, and that is that that area, Logandale and Overton, were settled by Mormon pioneers, driven out of the United States of America by a country they love, that rejected them and signed an extermination order. And then they came over here and they settled the land. And now that land, that same federal government is coming in, tasing these guys, knocking them over, beating them up, and who knows how bad it's going to get, how soon it's going to get. And we have a president that's sitting on his hands, not making a phone call to the Interior Secretary saying back off. And if that would happen, this problem would be averted. We have a serious problem in our country right now. And Thomas Jefferson teaches us something very interesting about public service via his tombstone. And that is, he didn't include that he was president on the tombstone. He didn't really think it was worth mentioning because he thinks that wasn't the greatest accomplishment in his life. Writing the Declaration of Independence is listed. His contributions to Virginia are listed, and his founding of an educational institution is listed, but nowhere is found his time as president. And it is because Jefferson also was concerned because he understood that even he, while he was president with great principles, even he extended that power of the presidency further than he really would have liked. And he was concerned about that. And that is something that you see, with the Louisiana Purchase and other things. You have to be concerned about that. And because government is a cancer and it wants to grow and it just can't help itself. So, with that said, I ask for this convention of delegates over the next year to please stand with me, stand with your fellow delegates, make sure that we fill the Central Committee has been informed of several committees that we're going to be engaging in. Attend the Lincoln Day Dinner. Attend these events. Contribute. Make posts on your Facebook. Write letters to the editor. Be in the community. Be positive. Be kind. Show what it is to be a Republican. Thank you very much, delegates of Utah County.